Before I started working on this video, I mostly stuck to using the standard font in the Adafruit OLED library. But you can actually use virtually any font, like this one, or even that one. Wanna learn how to do it? Then stick around. Before we start, make sure you drop a like and subscribe if you find content like this useful. It really helps grow the channel. For this video, I will be using I2C OLED display connected to Arduino Nano. Connectivity is simple. OLED display is powered through ground and 5V pins. An SCL goes to digital pin 5 and SDA goes to digital pin 4. Let's start with the standard font. The font is available in 3 sizes. To demonstrate how it works, let me write a simple sketch. Here is the common part of all the sketches we'll be using in this video. This includes the library definitions, screen dimensions, and the display object creation. Everything we need to work with I2C OLED display. In setup, we initialize the display object, clear the screen. The standard font is loaded by default when the sketch starts. If you switch to different font, you can always go back by using set font with no parameters. In this case, we never changed the font, so that line of code isn't needed here. Next, we need to set the text color to white. Then we set the font size to 1, position the cursor at the top of the screen, and print some sample text. Let's do the same thing for size 2, placing the text just below the first line, and then repeat it once more for size 3. This font is perfectly fine, but what if we want to use something different? Well, we can. There are several fonts included with the Arduino GFX library. They work a bit differently from the standard font. These are true type base fonts, and when you choose one, you need to include the corresponding .h file that contains the bitmap data for that specific font, but also for a specific size. So let's say we want to use the free mono font in size 18, where 18 indicates the height in pixels. Let's write a simple sketch to display my channel name. To use this particular font and size, we need to include the appropriate .h file. So what exactly is this .h file? It's a header file that contains all the bitmap data describing how each character in the font should be drawn on the screen. In the name, you can clearly see the font's subfolder, so where are those .h files located? If you open the Arduino directory in the File Explorer, you will see many subdirectories containing sketches for my various Arduino projects. However, this folder also contains other items. When we scroll down, we eventually come across the Libraries directory. Inside it, you will find all the libraries I have installed in the Arduino IDE. Among them is the Adafruit GFX library folder. When you open it, you will see the fonts directory, and inside it you will find our .h file along with all the other available by default. In fact, you may notice a few more files than the ones I showed on the slide. Let's take a quick look inside the font.h file. As expected, you will find the bitmap data for all the characters. At the end of the file, there is also the font name you use in your code to reference it. Just keep in mind that this name can be different from the .h file name. Going back to our code, in setup we select the TrueType base font, which is included, make sure the text color is set to white, and set the cursor position where the text should begin. Here is an important difference compared to the standard font. With the default font, the cursor position refers to the top of the character. So if you set the Y coordinate to 0, the text starts right at the top of the screen. But with the TrueType base fonts, the cursor refers to the baseline, the bottom of the characters. That means if you set Y to 0, part of the text will be off screen. So in this case, the Y coordinate needs to be at least the height of the font, which is 18 pixels. Let's set it to 20 to give it a bit of spacing. Now we can print the channel name across 2 lines and finally call the display command to render everything on the screen. Let's load this code. You may notice that the upload takes a bit longer. That's because the font.h file is relatively large. And there it is. The text is displayed and it looks great. But this is still a fairly basic font. What if we want to use something more stylish or custom fonts that aren't included by default? To do that, we would have to take any TrueType font and convert it into a .h file that the Adafruit GFX library can understand, just like the font files we were already using, and then refer to that font in a code. But how can we actually do this? There are a few online tools that can help. The first one I came across is a Squix tool created by Daniel Ihorn. Let's take a look at it. You can use it to convert fonts for OLED displays, which is exactly what we want, but it also supports TFT displays. There is a drop-down menu where you can select fonts available for conversion, and you can also choose the font size. On the right-hand side, there is a useful simulation of the OLED display that shows how the font will look like and how large the characters will be at the selected size. Let's select the sample font and the reasonable size. The last thing we need to select is the library version. It's not entirely clear what the default refers to, but we should choose Adafruit GFX font. When we click Generate, you will see the content of the .h file displayed on the screen below. You also have an option to download this file, so let's do that. We could place the file in the fonts directory, but we can also store it directly in our sketch folder. My sketch is called custom font, so let's find it in the Arduino directory and paste the .h file there. Now let's quickly check the content of the file. And this doesn't look right. It seems a lot of data is missing. But no worries, we can go back to the Squix tool, copy the generated mapping to the clipboard, clear the .h file, and paste the content there instead. Now let's reopen the custom sketch we used earlier to display my channel name and modify it to use the new font from Squix. Let's upload it. And there you go. That already looks much better than the generic fonts we used before. So this is a really helpful tool, and it would be nice to have a way to thank Daniel for creating it for us. But wait, it looks like we can teleport him a beer. So let's do just that. Done. That's actually a pretty awesome way to support creators that make content that is useful to you. Personally, I would prefer coffee. However, I'm still not 100% satisfied. This tool offers a fairly long list of fonts, but it's still limited. If we go to Google Fonts, I can find many great looking fonts that are not available in Squix. This led me to search further, and I found another tool called TrueType to GFX, which allows us to generate mappings for almost any font we want. So let's find the font we like, download it, and extract the TTF file from the zip archive. Then in the online tool, we can upload the font, choose the size, and click Get the GFX font file. This generates the .h file. I've already moved that file into the custom font directory and made the necessary adjustments in the code. Let's upload it. And the result looks great. Now let me play devil's advocate for a moment and say that all this might be a bit of waste of time, since 99% of projects will work perfectly fine with standard or preloaded fonts. However, keep in mind that some fonts are not meant for letters or digits at all. For example, let's take a look at one particular font available in Squix that provides a wide range of clipart style icons perfect for projects like clocks or weather stations. I exported this font at relatively large size and selected 6 of the available icons. Here is the updated code. You can see that we included the font, selected it, and used print to display characters corresponding to those graphics. Let's check the result. And it looks great. I am sure you can find many other fonts with graphical elements with different themes. All the demonstrations in this video were made using the Arduino Nano. You need to be careful when choosing the font size. The larger the font, the larger the .h font file becomes, and the more memory is required. At some point, you will hit the memory limits of the Arduino Nano, and it's actually quite easy to do. Let's generate a .h file for one of the fonts we use today at size 35. I have already moved it into the sketch directory, so let's try to load it. And as you can see, we immediately get the memory overflow error. What fails on Arduino Nano will often work on ESP32 boards because they have substantially more memory and processing resources. And that's all there is to it. You've seen how to use built-in fonts in Arduino GFX library and how to generate your own custom font files for OLED displays. I hope it helps you make your OLED projects a little bit more polished. Thanks for watching, consider supporting my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao!